What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle.
Hi, my name is Steve. This is part of my video series where I give you expert advice on all things Xfinity. Today we're troubleshooting gigabit internet speeds. Let's get to it. Alright, the page you're looking at is located on the Xfinity community forums. I will leave a link in the description. So the first thing you want to do anytime you're troubleshooting internet is connect your computer directly to your modem via Ethernet. This just eliminates your home network as a potential problem. Since you're doing gigabit troubleshooting, you probably want to change your Ethernet cables at this time. It'd be a great time to do it. Upgrade to Cat 6 if you haven't done so already. Anytime you connect to your modem, you're going to have to power cycle, so don't forget to do that when you switch back to adding your router in. So once you do that, obviously you're going to want to run a speed test. When you run your speed test, your primary speed test should be speedtest.xfinity.com. Now, I heard a lot of chatter about this, about Comcast is faking speed tests or something, but it has a legitimate purpose. The reason that you're doing this is because you're only testing speeds on Comcast's network. So this eliminates any routing issues, because that's the nature of the internet. Sometimes there could be just a simple routing issue is going to really kill your speed, or congestion issues. So it's just a way of testing your speeds, just raw speeds. This doesn't mean you shouldn't use any other speed test. Go right ahead and do that. Just be aware that there's a reason why we're asking you to test on Xfinity's own network. So once you've run that and you run your test, if you're still having issues, you want to verify that your modem is approved for gigabit speeds and can handle the speed test. So one of those ways you can do that, there's a link here that takes you to a page that I created. Again, on the community forums, it's just a straight list. It's the easiest way to look it up. The other way to do that is to go to mydeviceinfo.xfinity.com. This is my actual page. This is my actual device. This is an Aris SB6183, and this is my speed plan down here is 250 megabits per second. So if your device here is not approved for the gigabit tier, it will show as not being approved. It will give you a warning here. So what you're looking for is a DOCSIS 3.1 device. Actually, several of these modems, like this Aris SB8200, the MV8600, the CM1000, these are all actually gigabit modems, even though I don't have gigabit. So if you're looking over here, if you're looking at this speed plan section over here, yours should say 1000 megabits per second or a gigabit. If yours does not, then it would indicate a provisioning issue. And provisioning is just how your modem is set up in Comcast system. So obviously if it's not provisioned for gigabit speeds, you're not going to get gigabit speeds. So another thing you could look for, that's actually our number 4 step there, is checking your provisioning. But the other thing you could look for, a lot of modems will display the boot file, and in that boot file it should say gigabit. If it says extreme or blast or something like that, then that's not what you want. So if that's another indication that you have a provisioning issue. So the next thing you're going to kind of come to is hardware issues. Network adapters, that seems to be a big problem out there. People have like USB adapters, or they have adapters that aren't up to the task. So make sure you have a gigabit adapter. Make sure that it's fully enabled. Make sure that it has its latest drivers. No USB drivers. Kind of the same thing with minimum system requirements. I'm not going to go into that too much for you, but just you need to have modern computers. If you're running Windows XP, you're not going to see gigabit speeds. So modern computer, modern network equipment, fast processor, lots of RAM, etc., etc. So once you've done all that, next thing you're going to want to do is signal levels. You're going to want to check your signal levels. You're going to want to look at your event logs to see if there's some kind of signal problem that's causing your speeds to degrade. There is a link here to the troubleshooting guide that I also have posted on the Xfinity forums. There's also a video which I will give you a link to in the description there. There's a video, just gives you, it tells you exactly how to find your signal levels and your event logs, and gives you a short explanation of the parameters that you should be seeing there. So if you've checked your speeds, or you checked your signals, and your signals look pretty good, you want to move on to trying some of your software solutions. So another thing that I've seen pop up more than once is an antivirus that is not up to the task of gigabit speeds. So what's happening is your antivirus is trying to check everything that you download, but it can't work at gigabit speeds, so it's kind of causing a choke point there. So briefly disable your antivirus or any kind of security software you have. Just briefly disable it, run a speed test. If your speeds are improved, then you can adjust your security settings. If your speeds haven't improved, you can kind of go on to the next step, which is a little more of a scorched earth kind of approach to it, but it's the same idea. You're going to boot into safe mode. You're going to boot into mood. You're going to boot into safe mode. If you have a Mac, it's known as safe boot. And basically, what you're doing, your computer's gonna boot up. You're only going to have the basic software that you need to run your computer and networking. Then you run your speed test. So the idea behind this is, if you have any kind of software conflicts, that's going to be eliminated. If you are in safe mode with networking and you run your speed test and you're still having issues, then you're going to start thinking about the hardware issues. You're going to think, maybe my network adapter's bad, maybe the modem's bad, maybe Comcast is having some kind of issues. If things improve, then you're going to start thinking about software issues. Is there a software conflict somewhere? And then you could start hunting that down and focus on that direction. So if you're at this point and nothing has worked for you so far, you're going to want to go to either the Xfinity community forums or visit the Xfinity subreddit. Both of those places have communities. There's experts there, there's employees there, there's lots of knowledgeable people there that will be happy to help you. So those signal levels and those event logs you looked at, take all that, post it online, ask for help. There are experts there like myself that will try to help you out. If we can't figure out what's going on with it, we can't escalate to an employee. So when employees are looking at that, they're all corporate employees, the digital care employees there, and they're all very good. But they can look at your modem. They could see what the signal levels are doing at that moment. They could real time look what your signals are doing. They could look at your node health. They could see if your neighbors are having issues. They could check for noise on the line. So there's lots of things that they can see that we can't, and they may be able to solve your issue for you just by looking at the back end and seeing what's going on there. Worst case scenario, we can't fix your issue remotely. The employees can't help. So what they're going to do is send you out a tech. But this is a good thing for you if they send a tech out, because there are techs that are specialized in gigabit speed issues. They have special equipment. For example, they have a little device called an XMT. Basically, it's just a handheld computer. All it does is check speeds. So, they can give you a definitive answer. If they're on your premises and, they're not getting the speeds either, then the tech can take it to the next level and have maintenance or engineers look at it to see, why your speeds are not happening. So that's about it for gigabit troubleshooting. Hope to see you on the forums. If not for a problem, just to stop by and say hello. Thank you for stopping by today. I appreciate it. If you would leave a like and a subscribe would be awesome as well. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time.